9 and 10 each gave some teams trouble. So let's go through these two problems carefully. So let's look at 9 first. So we've got this figure, and this is the central figure of Chapter 7, which is the critical chapter on market structure and outcomes in the economy. And so let me go to this laser pointer. In this model, we've got the feasible set is the demand curve, and the demand curve is downward sloping. At high prices, consumers buy fairly little. At lower prices, consumers will buy more. That's the demand curve. A firm can't price a good and sell a ton of output if consumers don't demand it. So points up here are not feasible. Points with below the demand curve or on the demand curve are feasible. And then what a firm wants to do is maximize profits. So there are these isoprofit lines. For technical reasons, the marginal cost curve always intersects the isoprofit line at minimum isoprofit, at the minimum of the isoprofit curve. Let's see what else. That's the basics. So which of the following statements is true? 1. The demand curve represents a constraint on the firm's profit maximizing effort. Yes, that's the feasible set. That's the set within which the firm must operate. The firm would much rather be out here at a much higher profit, but they're constrained by this demand curve, by what buyers will pay. The isoprofit lines represent the objective of the firm's profit maximizing effort. Exactly. So the firm, constrained by the demand curve, the firm wants to attain the highest profit, isoprofit, the highest profit that it can. And each of these lines represents an isoprofit curve. They initially fall, they intersect with the marginal cost, then they rise again. So 1 and 2 are certainly true. Let's think about 3. To increase profits, the firm must increase the price of its product. Well, let's just examine that. Let's take this point E, where the firm is maximizing their profit, given this demand curve and their cost structure. Well, let's think about raising price. The firm would be moving to the left, up the demand curve. Well, that's going to lead to lower profits because as price goes up, buyers buy less. You can't make a buyer buy more at a high price, or they even keep buying the same thing at a higher price. No, as the price goes up, buyers buy less, and that could knock profits down, as indeed is the case for this picture here. So 3 is certainly wrong. 1 and 2 are certainly right. That makes A the right answer. Now, number 10, sort of one of these other ones, which of these is true? Number 10 was a different way of looking at the profit maximizing problem of a firm. And I will tell you that number 10 matches up better with the way most textbooks present this information. Most of the work in the core economics text is using this model that's illustrated in Chapter 9. So nevertheless, we do need to know this other way of thinking about it, and this other way of thinking about it, it looks at how revenues change as output increases. So we're not looking at the demand curve anymore. Actually, if we have a downward sloping demand curve, the marginal revenue curve has the same y-intercept and is twice as steep. How does revenue change as output is increased? And there's two things. On the one hand, you sell more as output increases, but on the other hand, you get a lower price per unit of output. So that discount, we call it the price effect or the discount effect, that discount effect cuts the other way. So marginal revenue is always below price because of that discount effect. You have to lower the price to sell more. All right, so the marginal revenues, that's if we produce one more unit, what will be the revenue associated with that unit? And then we look at that in conjunction with marginal cost. If we produce one more unit, how will costs rise? And as long as revenues increase more than costs rise, profits will go up. So all these points, revenues are going up faster by more than costs are going up. That's true right to this point, to where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. That's the profit maximizing point. That's the key to this model. All right. So When Q equals 40, all right, we're here. That's the firm's producing more than the profit maximizing. The marginal cost is greater than the marginal revenue. True enough. Marginal cost is greater than marginal revenue. So the firm's profit must be negative. It was so promising until that last clause. No, the firm's profits aren't necessarily negative there. They're not at the highest. Remember that they had a profit graph below that, and profits went up, hit their maximum, and then went down. So at a quantity of 30, they were at their maximum, but at a quantity of 40, they weren't negative, they were just not at their maximum. So that one is out. Revenue is greater when Q equals 10 than when Q equals 20. No, marginal revenue is still positive, so revenue is still going up. So revenue at 20 is greater than at 10. So bump. The firm would not choose to produce at point E because marginal profit is 0. Well, it's true that marginal profit is 0, but that doesn't follow that the firm wouldn't choose there. It's actually this point right here. The slope of the profit function is 0. The marginal profit is the slope of that function, but that's their maximum. So that's exactly where they want to produce. So 3 is out. Boy, 4 better be right or we're out of answers. Profit is greater when Q equals 20 than when Q equals 10. And indeed, we're 20 is there, 10 is there, and indeed, marginal revenue is still above marginal cost, so profits are increasing right up until we get to this point. So 4 is true, but only 4 is true. That makes B the right answer for number 10.